I think at first it was hard to see the poverty when we were first driving through Dominica, just because it's so beautiful and there's plants and greenery and everything everywhere, and that you kind of forget that in a place like that there are still people who are poor and in need, and it might not be the same type of poverty that you see in, you know, an urban city, but it's still there and it still needs to be addressed.
Everything around you is so beautiful that you almost, I think the poverty is a little bit different because it's juxtaposed with like such beauty, and then like the little bit of poverty that we saw, it was just hard to understand.
Crip Territory is a beautiful place where, I mean, if you know how to live off the land, you can live off the land. There's mangoes, fruits, pineapples, coconuts, coffee beans. It's beautiful that you can actually do that. Because here in California, I don't think none of us have the knowledge to do that. So that's one thing that's beautiful about that type of poverty. I think it's actually more about community justice issues like alcohol abuse, transportation issues, cultural divisions within education, stuff like those. I think are the poverty issues that they experience.
You looked at these people and they seemed extremely resourceful because they used everything. And there was, if you wanted food, you just went to a tree or found a chicken or a fish, or it was. But at the same time, you look at, you know, the education and just some Western things that have kind of crept into their culture. Like
the poverty is more about like housing and material things like clothing, and not as much about food and water. So although it's not hugely shocking like Haiti was, it's still poverty and it's still there. It still is hard to see, but the whole aspect of having beautiful rainforests around you adds like this different aspect to it, which makes it confusing and hard to understand because everything is so beautiful around you, and then you have shacks, you know, at the edge of rainforest.
A lot of struggle, sir. Struggle like people, like when I say young people here, we have a lot of unemployed here. That's our problem, main problem. And you see a lot of children, like we send our children to school, secondary school, to the Dominica State College, and when they come from, no job.
Yeah.
Sometimes 80% of young people now can't find a job. With all their degrees, all their papers, and all their schooling, no job. They have to leave Dominica from the Caribbean and go overseas, like Antigua and places like, you know, Trinidad and Barbados, and you know, to find out.
Well, the struggle I have experienced in my very long time life, because the time of my father, the time of long time, the time that we did not have road, the time we did not have electricity.
Yes, there is an opportunity like that in Dominica for some people who go to school and they already, you know, do good at school. So they have a thing they call it, sometimes they call it youth skill training. They train them in different skills, you know, like sewing skills, construction, you know, plumbing and everything. That's why as soon as I left school, I had to go to a thing like that. I go and explore construction, you know, and I get my certificate like steel to, you know, I mean, steel bending and steel and cutting steel and tying.
If it have 4 black people and it have 4 carry people, like on the side they have 4 vacancies for 4 jobs. You see, they will always take the black people because the Prime Minister and the government of Dominica is more or less blacks, you know. So the blacks, they'll always look for the blacks, you know, and it's that. So while they will say, well, no vacancy for the Caribbean, then they might say, okay, we have 4 vacancies for the blacks. You know. So while we are fighting for it, we have the same qualified, we have the same degree, but they will still have a favor in the blacks than we, the indigenous people. You know, and it's that going on from time. That's why you see that more blacks, nurses in Dominica, like more blacks like than Carib, like doctors, like policemen, because of that. And not to say we don't qualified, you know, we are qualified people. We have go to school, we have a degree just like the blacks, you know. But because of that, we come from the kind of, because they always look down on us, like because like we are poor and then we cannot. But we have the qualification just like the black. You know, because they know, well, we poor, so they have us dumb. They don't know us to have like them. And from creation, it's still happening in Dominica.
If somebody's lacking something, then there's a need. And I don't think we saw a need, and we didn't really have to justify it. It was like, okay, they don't have water all the time, and that's a necessity in life. And I don't think it really needed to be justified. It was like, easy.
Our capacity to judge people's poverty levels, I believe, is flawed. It's really hard to come from so much privilege, and for some of us veterans to see a different type of poverty, you know, structural devastation, no access to water, and then to see the Carib territory poverty, where that's not just the case. So I don't know if we're in a place to judge who's poorer and what type of poverty is more important.
I feel like if you had taken all those houses and put them in like some urban type setting in the United States, it would have looked like a super poor town. It was just, I think that it probably gets put on the back burner because you assume that it's so pretty here that these people aren't poor, but it's a different type of poor.
I don't think we have the capacity to judge different types of poverty, especially compare them against each other, because just because someone might have less money or fewer material possessions, that doesn't mean that they're any more in need than someone else, or that they wouldn't appreciate a little help every now and again, or that they're not poor, because there's so many different factors to consider.
Poverty is poverty, and someone that needs help is someone that needs help, no matter how beautiful or devastating the physical environment they live in is. So poverty is poverty as far as I'm concerned.